as we take a look at what's happening at Akwa Ibom State now, the Independent National Electoral Commission in the state has insisted that the All Progressives Congress in Akwa Ibom has no governorship candidate for the 2023 election. This was made known by the resident electoral commissioner in the state, Mike Igini, in a report sent to the INEC headquarters in Abuja. According to the report, the commission's monitoring team led by Igini in the company of the Commissioner of Police in Akwa Ibom, Andrew Amiengeme, arrived at the venue of the primary for the third time at 6:45 p.m. without seeing anyone. It said that the heads of the two federal agencies were informed that the APC election committee members were held up by an angry group of APC members along a major road in Uyo, the state capital, by the faction of the party in the state, backed by former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, later held the governorship primary of the party around midnight at a different venue, where Akan Udofia, a man who was less than a month old in the party, was declared winner of the exercise. The party has been torn into two factions because of a protracted battle between a former governorship aspirant and former national secretary of the APC, John Akpan Udode, and Akpabio over the control of the party structure in the state. Well, John Akpan Udode has now defected to the New Nigeria People's Party, where he secured the party's governorship ticket for the 2023 election. But Senator Itai Enang, who was also an APC governorship aspirant, is now claiming the APC governorship ticket. Well, to help us make sense of all of this, I'm now being joined in the studio by Senator Itai Enang, a former special advisor to President Buhari on Niger Delta Affairs, who is also a factional governorship candidate of the APC in Akwa Ibom. Welcome to the show, distinguished. This is a potpourri of issues.
Thank you very much.
Let's start with you. Was there a primary in Akwa Ibom, or there was no primary conducted by the APC?
There was no valid primary known to law conducted by the APC. Now, and there are litigations about, I think we have Akwa Ibom has almost the highest number of litigations amongst all the states that we had nominations. There was no nomination because first, the nomination that was purportedly held was disrupted by what was held against all, was purportedly held against all permutations. And so nothing was done. First, INEC was not there. Second, it was said that it has to be postponed because the people were disrupted, and as at 11:30-12, it was not to be held. Then the chairman, Mr. Jubulu or something, had told the INEC and everybody that he is too traumatized by the event of the standoff that he is unable to think of holding
the chairman of the primary election committee from the APC
headquarters.
Okay.
And in fact, that was the whole matter. But around 11:30, 12:30, I was told that something AM in the night, when all the other aspirants had gone to sleep, you know, thinking that it will be rescheduled another day, so they went to do it at an illegal venue. I was told, then I went to see that they were doing, and I said, look, we had said that the workout of crisis, you will fix a date. The aspirants are not here, the delegates are not here. Those persons who were there were simply hoodlums who were just picked from the street to come, and they just keep tearing the ballot papers and giving. And I asked the panel, where is the INEC here? They said they don't know INEC. I said, where is the
police, DSS?
No, not the police. Where is the delegate list? They said they didn't come with the delegate list. And the issue in Akwa Ibom is so complicated. So I left. And in the morning, all other aspirants woke up to hear that they purported to have held something. But you know, it is complicated because first, there are two blocks in Akwa Ibom. And the block here is where the national officers of the party sent the panel to. Now, the other block, which INEC was, the Leonard Igini was, and with the police commissioner till 10 p.m. is where the delegate lists were, which were produced by delegates, produced by officers of the ward and state, ward and chapter. They had the delegate list. and that is the delegate list that INEC has and recognizes. So whatever is purported to have been done by this group that is led by Chief Ntwekbo, they had no delegate list that is known to law, known to INEC, that was done and monitored by INEC.
Yeah, so, but Chief Ntwekbo is the one who is the recognized state chairman of the APC.
Yes, but that is what the law, that is the judgment, and that is how we associated. But there was a court order, according to some persons in INEC, which ordered, is it stay or status quo antebellum, and that in the interpretation, status quo means you maintain as it were. So they kept monitoring the other side. So in fact, that is why in the course of the confusion, I now wrote a memo to the party that on account of this, let us not proceed with any action by any side. Let the national office of the party come and intervene. Find out which is the appropriate delegate list, which is the appropriate venue, so that we can have nomination that is known to law and backed, monitored by INEC. Because whatever our excuses under the new Electoral Act, unless you give 21 days notice, you can't. Unless it is monitored by INEC, it cannot be done. And the law also says that you can only produce a candidate in a valid primary which shall have been monitored by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And I think it goes on in section 84(13) to say that the INEC shall not accept a candidate emanating from primaries which they did not monitor. So it is not as it were in the 2010 Act, now number 6 of 2010 Electoral Act, which says that INEC shall on no account reject candidates of political parties. It has changed. All those things that used to be as the internal affairs of the party has been elevated into the Electoral Act. So even if you had a power to waive anything, like under the law,
especially for
yes,
proposed candidates who did not take part in the primary. The parties don't have that right any longer.
They don't have that right anymore.
INEC has been asked to monitor. Now, when you wrote to Abdullahi Adamu, the national chairman of the party, what was his response? Because I remember Akpan Udode also wrote to the national chairman, and yet everything does happen.
I wrote to the national chairman on it, and I said, please don't even go on with even the senatorial House of Representatives, House of Assembly, because this confusion, whichever one we take, will not make us have candidate. I wrote on that day, on the 27th, again raised it at the panel, which was at the appeal panel. Again, when I wrote to them, my other colleague, Larry Essen, another aspirant, wrote. Austin Utuk, another aspirant, wrote. Senator J.J. Akpan Odoi, another aspirant, wrote. 4 of us out of 6 wrote to the party that, look, where we are going, we are not likely to produce any validly fieldable candidate. Let us recall the panel.
And you were not given the opportunity.
Well, I wrote about 4 letters. The first letter, I have all of them here. I have all of them, including the last one of June 9th, which I said that this is almost the last day that we have to do something, which I forwarded the INEC report to the party. I wrote another one, an earlier one on May 30th, to the chairman of the party, the national secretary, the national organizing secretary, the national organizing officer of the party, secretary of the party, and they were all acknowledged. And this was appeal. I filed at the appeal at the petitions at the gubernatorial appeals panel. You know, it was attended to and report given. I also had raised some of these issues before the at the screening level, you know, that one of these persons who is contesting election with us is not a member of the party.
Yeah, and that's what you cannot. But before we go into that,
yes,
what was the response by the party? I'm interested in knowing why
I will
the
not
national
speak
headquarters,
because I have not. None of us has had any response from the party.
So the decision was just to allow all of you. I mean, you have been a former special advisor to President Buhari on Niger Delta affairs, and then you have
National Assembly matters.
And on National Assembly matters, you have Senator Akpabio himself being a former minister of special duty.
You have the former Senator Minister of Minister of FCT, who was
yes, so in all of that, with all your strengths and how strong you are perceived to be in the APC, the party just left all of you to take decisions that have led
any response.
The party not having a candidate.
We even went in collaboration just to have at least a corporate response. That they were still telling me that they set up a small a committee headed by one of the deputy national chairman and with the legal advisor and the organizing secretary, and they were looking at the report and what each of us had submitted, but nothing has been told to us. Right now, we are in a precarious situation because by the report filed by INEC, which you've read there, that Akwa Ibom did not conduct valid primaries which can produce candidates to make us have candidates. Right now, there is a more confusing situation because the group that is led by Austin Ekanem produced senatorial candidates, House of Representatives candidates, and House of Assembly candidates, which were monitored by INEC. The other group, led by Mr. Ntugwekbo, produced candidates also, which were conducted by the panel sent by the National Office of the party, but it was not monitored by INEC. So as at now, which of the candidates is acceptable to INEC to field as candidate for any of these legislative offices? That of the gubernatorial appears a lot more far off from the legal angle. It appears far more challenged. But we have possibility if the party comes into issue and then says this or this and have an agreement with INEC. And that agreement can only be in accordance with the Electoral Act, what INEC has monitored.
Now, and you are saying that you are trying to claim that you are the factional governorship candidate because you came second, and since it looks like this primary wasn't properly conducted, you should just be announced as the candidate of the APC.
I should be the candidate of the party.
Why?
Because the other person named as if he were the candidate which emerged or is alleged to have emerged, yes, is not a member of the party. First,
Senator Akpabio brought him to the party, and he's said that he
under the act, you must every political party must deposit its register 30 days to the primaries with INEC. And this person claims he resigned from his party, the PDP, on the 1st of May. So as at 26th April, the membership had closed. Again, we have the certified true copy of the of the membership register of APC in his ward and unit. His name is not there. His name is not there as a member of the party. Then you will see the ballot paper of PDP in the primaries, PDP primaries, governorship primaries of 25th May. We had our own 26th May. He contested on 25th May in PDP and claimed to have won on 26th May, the following day, in APC. So you can't be a member of two political parties at the same
that automatically
time.
Nullifies
you can't even
based on the
contest.
Electoral Act.
Yes. So you can't be a member of two political parties.
Now,
and
we also hear, sorry to cut in, we also hear that it looks like Governor Udom Emmanuel may have sponsored him to come to your party and cause division. How true or false is that?
I will not be very pointed at that. But part of what we are doing, part of what I'm doing with my team and with all with all members of the APC is that we are trying to defend the soul of APC from the intervention of PDP. It is alleged that it is PDP's injection of venom into the family of APC, so that they will cause us into a confusion. And it seems that they have succeeded. It seems that the PDP has succeeded in their scheme. The allegation is strong. Okay. The allegation is strong. Very, very strong. That the man is brought in as an agent of destruction from PDP to come and cause trouble in APC so that we will not have a candidate and give a walkover to PDP. This is why we're in court to try to redeem this situation. So the court agrees with our situation and orders primary as a court order, then we will win. And
yeah,
then
but
we'll become
what will you now say of Akpabio, who's your member, a certified member of the APC,
I will keep off that.
You don't want to go there?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah. I am a pure member of the APC, and we've been struggling and building this party, so let me not go too far.
Okay. Now, let's go generally. You would have seen with all these things that are happening in the APC, Labour Party and all of that, issues of placeholder being used even when it's not expressly stated in the Electoral Act. What's been your analysis of the situation and the behavior of political parties in this last primary exercise?
I think the political parties have not been very faithful to the Electoral Act. And I am afraid that we are going to have torrent and turbulent judgments from the court, which are going to upset very many situations. The National Assembly, I must apologize because I may have blamed them for getting too deep into matters which ought to be internal affairs of the party. But from the experience I've had, the National Assembly and Mr. President were right to go into the details of what ought to be internal affairs of the party, elevating it into the Electoral Act itself. So the political parties should accept that there was a time in 2010, under the 2010 Electoral Act, which said that INEC shall not, under any condition, reject candidate followed by the political parties. Now, under the Electoral Act, it even goes expressly to say, I take your leave to read section 21 of the Electoral Act. It says, 29 subsection 1, every political party shall, not later than 180 days before the date appointed for a general election under this act, submit to the commission in the prescribed forms the list of the candidates the party proposes to sponsor at the election, who must have emerged from valid primaries conducted by the political party. Again, who must, it says must have emerged from valid, it says valid primaries. So if it is not valid, it is not valid. It goes to section 84, subsection 13, it says, where a political party fails to comply with the provisions of this act in the conduct of its primaries, its candidate for election shall not be included in the election for the particular position in issue. That is, it gives INEC power. So you can submit it, but INEC can keep quiet, and when it is publishing the list, it will not include it.
And INEC has 7 days to publish that list. After receiving it, on the day it receives it, it has 7 days to publish it.
It has that. So the political parties seem to have thought, because under the section 29(1), which I read earlier, there was a proviso in subsection in the 2010 Electoral Act, which says, provided that INEC shall not, under any circumstance, reject the candidate of political parties. This one, they have deleted that section and says it must, and it goes further to say, you shall not include his name in that election.
Because
so
he or she didn't take part in a valid primary. Now, what will you say of the situation we have of Ahmad Lawan, and then, of course, some other persons that we're hearing that they didn't take part in elections, primary elections, but here we found their names being submitted by your own party, the APC, to INEC?
I will not speak on any specific case, and I will not mention any particular name. Okay. But I want to say that under the law, there were dates fixed for primaries, and those dates were monitored by INEC. And again, before you hold any primary, you must give 21 days notice. The 21 days notice were given at that time. If there were any other primaries held, was 21 days notice given. Again, if you are holding primaries and there is something wrong that you have to go and hold another set of primaries after cancellation, it is only the persons who participated in those primaries who bought forms at that time that ought to. Let us look at the Electoral Act again. So political parties, I won't go into deep because I'm a member of the party.
Yeah.
I'm loyal to the party.
Okay.
I'm sure you could note the way I am chewing my mouth on certain matters because I am bound to defend and campaign for the party, but also bound to draw attention to things that are not right internally.
Issues that may rob the party
of its glory.
But okay,
so
you haven't
I will
spoken
do
of the
everything
placeholder
to
issue too. What do you
I will
make?
not speak of the placeholder issue
because your party is involved also.
Yes, I will not because.
But that's not to say that you don't have an opinion.
I have an opinion.
But you
I
just
will
want
not
to keep it.
Yes, let me keep my opinion on this.
Okay, as we try to round off this conversation, the single senator Itai Enang, tell us what it will look like for Akwa Ibom to go to the polls without APC on the ticket. It
will be very odd. It will be a terrible disservice. It will be like is an unthinkable thing. That is why some of us, I'm in court. There are about 4 court cases. I'm in court. Austin Otu is in court. Larry Essen is pursuing it in another manner. Then other people are in court. A group of other aspirants are in court. The senatorial candidates aspirants are in court. House of Representatives candidates are in court. In fact, I think the Federal High Court in Uyo and the Federal High Court in Abuja is, I think, the busiest thing they have to attend is the APC matters from Akwa Ibom State. So, but we're doing everything to make sure that we resolve this situation so that we can have an APC member on the ballot of the party. Because even PDP is preparing to sue us and to sue us if we dare field this their member, because they're saying that is their member and we cannot field a person that is their member. So the situation in Akwa Ibom is very complicated.
We'll call this Fuji House of Commotion.
Yes. So the person is not a member.
So do you feel betrayed, Senator Itai Enang, after all the years of service to your party, having served in this government, having served President Buhari very well, being loyal, like you say, you don't want to touch on certain interests, that this party, after all the sweat for it, is treating you badly?
Well, I am a loyal party member, and I believe that there is a mechanism that we are going to solve it. That is why the law provides we can go to court. That is why the party also provides that we can seek redress. And I'm not feeling bad, because however bad I feel, I'm a member of the party. I'm bound to defend the party. I'm bound to market our gubernatorial candidate when it emerges among party members. House of Representatives, House of Assembly, senatorial candidate, our presidential candidate. I'm bound to market the presidential and other candidates of a party all over.
I'm surprised if a former national secretary of the party can defect to another party. I wonder why Itai Enang will still remain in that same party.
I must show loyalty to the party because we built it on, and we love the philosophy, which is improving the human condition, progressivism. So
what will you wish upon Odehe, who has defected from your party now after having served as the national secretary of the party?
He's my friend. I know he'll come back. I can't say I wish him success, because if he succeeds, he will be succeeding against my party. So I wish him only grace, but he will be back. We're rebuilding the house, and he'll be back.
Or you'll meet at the campaign trail.
Why we'll meet. When we meet at the campaign trail, I will win.
Okay.
Thank you.
We must thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Distinguished Senator Itai Enang is a former special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on Niger Delta affairs, and of course, he is a factional governorship candidate, like he has said here in Akwa Ibom State, despite the fact that INEC is saying that the party doesn't have a candidate in that state's governorship election that will be coming up. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Sambo.